We're here to be listening to an anonymous speaker, community organizer, mother. I ain't got all time to name all the fancy words, but I've watched her grow and become a force to be reckoned with. And I want to get out the way and let her do a presentation, more importantly, about you and how to engage you and how to answer your questions and how to educate you regarding the criminal justice system. That's all right. So I'm going to bring her right there. Ms. Jasmine Harris.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jasmine Harris. I am the Public Policy and Advocacy Director for RISE. There it is. Now, I was going to sit, but it looks too far back, so I'm just going to stand right here. So I'm currently in this position with newly made, I guess if you want to call it that, specifically for our organization. A lot of organizations that do work around criminal justice issues, they are program focused and really working with the individuals. And for me, I've always been aware of the environment, the political environment, and the policy environment, and a lot of what we do in the work when it comes to nonprofits. So speaking with my executive director and really pushing for a position that focuses on that level of involvement. So I'm glad that this came to fruition because it gives us another tool to really work on how we're impacting the criminal justice landscape here in Nebraska. I don't want to have a full, this is a Jasmine show conversation, as Willie mentioned, because I think you all already know what goes on when it comes to our criminal justice system here and what policies are there and how that is really impacting the people in our community. So I want to have more of a conversation with everyone and answer any questions I can about what RISE is doing in the public policy realm, how you all can get involved and help in that nature. So this time I'm going to go over a few talking points. The first one, when we're talking about criminal justice reform, what is criminal justice reform? We're talking about in Nebraska. It, for me, means that we are trying to improve a system that is there and it doesn't look like it's going anywhere. When we look at the leadership that's in place and how the perpetuation of punishment and housing of our individuals in the prison system, we have to now look at reforming. What can we do to influence how our people are being treated when they are in these systems? When we are talking about how to influence policy, we have to be unified and in solidarity when we are working on these issues. We have different pieces of the pie that people are focused on because the criminal justice system isn't just one sector. It isn't just the prisons. It isn't just re-entry in the community. It's a whole spectrum. What are we doing on the policing end? What are we doing on the sentencing end? What are we doing in the prison? And what are we doing as we're coming out? And we have organizations that focus on those different areas. But are we all coming together and talking about what it is that we see and what we know should happen from beginning to end so that we can actually start creating that change? Everybody has a different aspect. Everybody has their own ideas. But there should be a point in time when we can all work together on main goals. So for instance, when we're looking at the beginning and we're talking about bail and people who can't afford to get out of the county jails on bail, we can all agree that we need to reform the bail system. So let's start looking at what does that look like from a community standpoint and organizations involved in bail reform. What does it look like when we're talking about re-entry efforts? So one of the bills that's coming up tomorrow, we're talking about people coming out of incarceration and needing SNAP benefits, but we have 3 felony drug convictions. So when we're looking at that, that's a reentry reform that needs to happen. So are we all getting together and in agreement on those big major goals that we can agree to work towards? And then if you want to focus on something specific as an organization or as a group, then you take that piece on too, because it all advances what we're trying to do in this work. What does influencing policy look like? I think there is a time and a place for everything that goes on. We talk about advocacy, we talk about activism, we talk about grassroots organizing, we talk about lobbying. They all work together in a multi-pronged approach because one can't get it all done. We all have our strengths and we all can bring all those strengths together to create a force that shows that we are serious in the work that we do. So that's what I talk about when I'm saying influencing the policies here in Nebraska. And we also have to look at it from a standpoint of big P policies, which are laws, versus small P policies, which are in the institutions and practices that happen. So with my position, I'm focusing on the legislature and the big P policies, which are the laws. What are we doing from those standpoints to move the criminal justice system? But we're also getting involved with some of those small P's. So earlier in January, there was a meeting that happened, and we had the director here for a town hall, and we looked at processes and procedures when it comes to parole. So even though a lot of it can't happen at the law level that governs how the parole board operates, there are still some smaller pieces within the parole process that we can talk to the individuals in that system and say, we see this as an issue. How are we working together to improve the process to make sure that it's effective and efficient for the people we serve as they're coming out? So when I'm talking about influencing policy, it's coming on one accord. It's having an agenda, if you will. What is our criminal justice agenda from the people who do the work and the community members so that we can ensure we are seeing movement and progress in our community? And I'll also say within that agenda, you have to look at our government and who's running for office. Are we getting our people out there to vote? Are we educating on how that matters at our state and local level? I was talking with Willie just before we started, and it's the education piece. When people feel a disconnect on that, I'm not going to vote because my vote doesn't matter. I think what we see is that people see it from that national standpoint in the presidential campaigns. When I'm going to vote, but the Electoral College is still going to decide who's going to be the president. But we have to look at it from the standpoint that there are races won in our cities and our states by a couple hundred votes. And those are the people who decide our day to day how the prison systems are going to operate, what is going to happen on the front end. So I think it's really educating individuals on how this all is connected and how we all can make that change. So with RISE and this now being a new with this being a new role for me at RISE, and this is a new area that we're going into, I created a policy plan, and that'll be on our website soon. We have a webpage updating everyone on all the policy work that we're doing, bills that we're testifying on, things like that. But the goals that we have are to decrease the incarcerated population in our state and county facilities. So again, what that looks like is working on bail reform, because if we get people out of the front end, then that decreases individuals who are in the county jails. We want to do, we're not going to say we're taking on sentencing reform, but there are things happening with sentencing reform, because that is what it takes who's going to be in our state correctional facilities, how long they're going to be in there. We have a goal also to improve conditions for people who are living in the facilities and as they are coming home. So that's two-pronged. What are we looking at with policies that affect people who are incarcerated? So there are things about mental health and access to that care that they need. Health care, mental health care, behavioral health needs. When we're talking And our third goal is equitable economic and social progress. So as people are coming home out of incarceration, what are we doing to affect change in our communities that will help them along? When we're talking about housing, is there affordable housing available for people? What housing is available? So even on a small P level, when we're talking about transitional living homes that we're trying to send people to, when we're talking with landlords, are we sending people to those places that are safe? Are they clean? So we have to look at it from those standpoints as well. Transportation, we're talking about employment. That is the number one thing for us at RISE. When we know that 95% of people will come home after incarceration or come out of our incarcerated facilities to our communities, and the recidivism rate is as high as it is, about 80 to 85% of those individuals are unemployed when they are rearrested. So employment has to be one of the top things that we're looking at. So small P policy is how are we working with those employers? And not just getting people those jobs. Are they livable wage jobs? Are they going to be jobs that are labor intensive? Because we know that we have people coming out of incarceration who are 60 years old and are going to be able to do all of the labor intensive work that's out there. And not only that, but preparing for realistic expectations of what people coming home from incarceration need when it comes to employment. I will say one of the things that I appreciate, the Chamber of Commerce has this program that they're doing where they have a social worker that can go into these employers. I think Lois Shears was the one that first started, or the first that had the social worker on board. And I think employers can get behind that. It's one position that can now help not only people who are coming out of incarceration, if you so choose to hire those individuals, but they can help your whole staff. And they will help navigate through those things. Why are you coming in late to work? Is it because you don't have the transportation? And what can we do to work on that? So I think a lot of employers get nervous when it comes to trying to hire individuals because they're saying, well, they don't have the soft skills, which are showing up on time, which, is making sure that they have the clothing and things like that. So I think there are so many things that we can do from a big P policy level and small P policy level that we can influence when we're talking about making change within our criminal justice landscape. Some points or some events that are coming up. How do you get involved with what's going on? In March, RISE has 2 events in partnership with other organizations that I think can really help push needles and get people more involved and create that awareness that we need. The first one is on March 25th. We are collaborating with the national organization PET 50, which was co-founded by Van Jones. We're one of their states who will receive money to put on a day of empathy. And what that is basically going to be a lobby day where we will take people down to Lincoln, we'll get individuals in Lincoln, we're all going to meet and we're going to talk to our senators about the criminal justice reform that we want to see now in our state. So that event will be going out this week, so I suggest that you look for that and get involved that way, because as advocates, we can create that space. We want to center people who have been incarcerated, who have been impacted by the system, but as advocates, we can provide that backup voice as well. And then the next day, on March 26th, we will have a 2020 North Omaha candidate forum on mass incarceration. That's between RISE, NONA, and Black and Pink. So we're inviting candidates who are running for office at the state legislature, Congress, and Senate levels. So we can have a community conversation with those individuals who are seeking office on the specific topic of incarceration and what their plans are to help reduce that our incarcerated populations here. So with that, I will now open up for conversation and discussion. Tomorrow is the hearing down at the legislature on SNAP benefits to get rid of the 3 felony drug conviction. If you go down, Terrell, your order is ready. If you can make it down to Lincoln, I would say go down and testify for that bill. If you have, I know Senator Hunt really needs people who have personal experience with that. If you can't make it down there, you can submit a written letter of support by 5 p.m. today to that committee. And if you need help doing that, let me know and I can get you the information before we leave. Because it'll be to the chairperson of that committee.
Is that Jasmine, would you take a participant that's sitting in prison, and RISE comes to prison, and walk the people through what that participant will experience through RISE from beginning to the end, so they can see where they can plug in to participate?
Yes, thank you, Tila. Did I explain to you what RISE does as an organization? So we operate in 7 of the correctional facilities here in the state. And we operate a 6-month program that focuses on character development, employment readiness, and entrepreneurship. So individuals who enroll in our program, they will work on things like how do I deal with guilt and shame that I have? What are my self-limiting beliefs? We believe on working on the inside, because until you get the inside ready, you're going to keep hitting brick walls as you run out. And we know that can play into a lot of the recidivism as well. As they work through that, they're also working on skills of how do I take what job experiences I have, even if it's in the correctional facilities, and turn that into a resume. So we're working with individuals on resumes. How do they go into interviews and talk about their incarceration that doesn't invoke pity or woe is me, but what have I done since being incarcerated? How have I changed? And where are my goals? Where am I going right now? So at the 3-month mark, they have really worked on a lot of that inside work and also the employment pieces. And we then bring in volunteers into the facilities for a coaching day. And what that looks like is speed dating. So we have 30 to 40 volunteers that we bring in, and it's one-on-one for the most part with our participants in that cohort. And we'll work on reviewing their resumes, giving them tips and pointers on how to improve that. And then we'll also work on them giving their personal statement. How are they going to talk about that incarceration, and giving pointers and tips on that. And we'll culminate that piece with they would just begin their business ideas. They don't have internet to do market research, so you are now a market research for them. What are the price points of some of my ideas that I'm having? Is this even a good idea? I've been incarcerated for 20 years and I don't know what's out there right now. And we do some empathy building exercises within that. So people who we bring in understand where people who are incarcerated, how they can get, why are they even here, but they are people and we have to see them for who they are. After that, then there's another 3 months where individuals in the program will really focus on their business ideas, and they'll learn how to do return on investments, cost of goods sold. So they're really getting those skill sets from how to be an entrepreneur. And we tell everybody you can't teach hustle, but a lot of our people who are incarcerated already have a natural ability to hustle. They just need that skill set and how to hone it and make it good. So that's what they're focused on at that point. And so at that last 3 months, we have a business pitch competition, which is Shark Tank style. But we'll bring in volunteers again, and there'll be panels of volunteers that each individual will pitch their business idea to, and then they advance to the next round. We have the top 5 pitch at the end of that, and they get IOUs of funding that they can use on re-entry work, or when they get out, if they want to specifically put it towards their business, that money will be there for them. Then we end that with a graduation. We have families come in, and it's overall a really life-changing experience for a lot of our participants that go through that. what are we as RISE doing to help prevent youth going into the system? RISE was created specifically to work with people, adults who are currently incarcerated, who are coming out of incarceration, so we don't do the prevention in. There are organizations that are out here who work with youth, and they need the funding, they need the resources and tools to make sure that those youths are being served. And I go on a whole soapbox if necessary, but I won't. It really has to start looking at what are we doing it at the educational level, what are we doing for those parents who are not there, who are incarcerated, who will come out, and how are we helping them rebuild ties with their families to be there for their youth? Because we see the generational cycle of incarceration. Our program has had too many individuals who are doing the program with their son in the facility, or their son has completed the program before them and is now their peer facilitator. So we have to look at it. And it's not only one organization to do that. We have to now start looking at a lot of those environmental pieces in our community. What is the social impact of unemployment? We tout that Nebraska has one of the lowest unemployment rates at 2.8% now, but when you're looking at specific zip codes, that's not true. When you're looking at a parent having to have a $10 an hour job and then have another $10 an hour job just to make ends meet, therefore that leaves that gap open for youth not getting what they need from home as well. So there's so much that goes into the prevention of youth not going into the facility. And then if you want to look at it, what are our youth facilities doing to help those youth? Do they have the resources for the education that they need to get to them? Do they have the resources to work on re-entry for youth? Because that's going to look different than what adult re-entry looks like. So it's really digging into, do we have the right programs and organizations in place to make sure that's happening?
Use the mic. Tell Willie to use the mic. Next time.
I was hoping something. You want to pass your mic up so
Before you answer his question, I just want to give another plug to RISE, because unless you go inside and be one of those volunteers and look face to face at those individuals and sense what they're feeling and sense what they're going through, you will only have a part of the picture. And everything that RISE does with one individual does have a domino effect on their family, on their children, and on their community. And so it just goes on and on and on. And I appreciate your focus on the insight, especially on that pre-release piece. I just want to challenge the community to be engaged and be involved. Because without the community engaged and involved, it's never going to go where it needs to go. Even with the kids. It's a totally different thing with the kids. And so it's until the community stands up and jumps on board with a RISE, or with a Reconnect, with Compassionate Action, those that are inside, you won't get the full feel of what it needs to assist this population.
And the question that Willie asked is, what are we doing? We talk about this work and how organizations work in silos. So what is RISE doing to help with that? I am community focused from beginning to end. I'm born and raised in Omaha, so what I bring to RISE is those connections that I have in the community and the fight that I have to try and make sure that we collaborate and work together. There are so many great organizations already doing work on re-entry and working with people who are incarcerated. So trying to build a bridge to bring individuals together. It goes back to my first point that we have to start working and standing in solidarity and developing those goals that we want to address as a whole. So it's an agenda. So it's our criminal justice reform agenda. I know there are different looks like, but I believe whether you are on the side of coalition or on the side of actually working in the facility and have that first-hand experience on working with people who are incarcerated from that standpoint, we all offer suggestions, recommendations that we can start to really implement and bring together so that we can push the needle on what this looks like.
Okay. All right. When you first started off, you spoke that this activity is generational, particularly as it applies to some cultures. It's almost historical. But it seems like that when, and I call them novelties, not to be disrespectful, but they're novelties. See, like when certain issues become much more prominent at any given time, there's a thrust off, as opposed to the population that is most affected by it dealing with it continuously. There are several organizations within our community which are historical, but they don't deal with these kinds of main issues, and a lot of times because of their funding and all these other kind of issues. Is there any type of activity within the community that is trying to galvanize all this directional kinds of things so that we don't become repetitive? You know, like the 80s, most of all the males, mass incarceration. Then in the 90s, women's incarceration increased 300%. 2010, young males, now 2010 going to 20 young females. It's generational. That's because the system operates like that, and they don't, like funding, communications. We don't get communication kinds of fundings, but they don't want us to be able to tell these kind of things. What's going to be done to galvanize those who are already getting paid to do this kind of job to work unilaterally?
And I think, again, it goes back to not working in silos. And I think it's putting evil aside and putting it together for the common good, which is to advance that. There are organizations who are working with youth who are in the juvenile system. There are organizations who specifically work with LGBTQ plus individuals. I think it takes all of us to come together and to create an agenda. This is what we want to see, and this is what needs to happen. And I think once you start getting people behind those issues, it pushes forward. And with the funding, because we are so heavily represented by nonprofits, we're all vying for the same funding. So whatever the philanthropic community decides is the most important issue of the day, that's what it's going to look like the focus is. This work has been going on for who knows how long. So it does go in the cycle of the funding and what they find important at that time. But it's to continue to move through. So one of the things that when we focus on entrepreneurship is creating jobs through that entrepreneurship. I think it's all about economic development. Because when you have the businesses who then dictate how their funding goes, they can throw it in behind these kind of things.
I wasn't sure if I heard it or not, but do you guys partner with any mental health therapists to go into the prisons and talk with the populations?
We do not have any mental health therapists on staff or contracted with us to go in and talk to individuals. What we hear is that the Department of Corrections has enough mental health staff.
For real.
Sarah, you so no, we don't have any individuals that come in specifically to talk about mental health or to be a counselor for our individuals. When they are coming out, we have case management services. So we have reentry specialists who start working with individuals before they release. So we know exactly what needs they have. So when they are coming out, we are making those connections and referrals to mental health therapists and organizations in the community.
Hey, Jasmine, is there a, I haven't really talked about it before, but I just kind of was thinking about, there's so many things that are going on with RISE going inside, but I haven't really seen a way that the guys on the inside are given a real clear way to advocate for themselves, like a council or something like that. Is there a way we can do more to help the director work with the guys to find the leadership inside so they can really work together more to stand up for what they see. I really see that the change would come really strongly if we could organize them more from the inside.
There are clubs in the facilities who provide clear leadership within those. I don't work directly with them, so I can't tell you what all resources they have, but you have clubs like Concerned Lifers, who are there on life sentences, who take that leadership role, and they are advocating for changes within the facilities. You have clubs like Harambe, who are specific around African American ideals. So there are clubs within there. There are leaders in those clubs, and they do advocate for themselves. Now, we're talking about advocating on the outside at the policy level. I'll tell you right now, they are some of the most involved people when it comes to the legislature and laws that are being created within. I go with their telling me, so I'm like, hold on, let me write this down so I can go back out and look it up. They are sending letters to their senators. They are making sure that their voices get to them. Whether they're being heard and taken under consideration is another thing that we don't have control over, they don't have control over. But wanting to make sure that we provide that same opportunity to individuals who come out.
So to amplify on that point, when the county, Douglas County was advocating for this youth jail, I met with my commissioner. And I asked if they had done any, if they had talked to anybody who had been formerly held at detention center. And he said, I don't want to talk to those people because they're not going to be objective. So my question in that is, how is it that we maybe can take action and make sure that that they are included in all of the big P, small P policy situations? Because advocacy doesn't necessarily come from the people who are directly involved, but we need to make sure that they are.
And that's a good point. When the organizations and people who have the clout or who have the ability to move into these circles and into these avenues, you have to center people who are system impacted. If you have not experienced incarceration or have a family member that has gone through it, you cannot speak from that first person standpoint on the impact that it's had. But you do have the influence to get those individuals in those circles. So like with Day of Empathy, we are centering people who have been directly impacted by incarceration to make sure that they go talk to senators, to make sure that they have a voice in this. When we are trying to come up with programs, we talk to those individuals who have been impacted because we have blinders on that we can't always see. But how is this going to affect someone? What are we not seeing from the standpoint that they have seen, and making sure we include that in whatever we do.
Trust is a big piece of this puzzle. And a lot of folks inside the wall or outside don't trust the system. So
I had the opportunity to learn about some of your programs and some of your graduates from an amazing staff member. I understand there are 3 people who graduated who are entrepreneurs who have started their own businesses. How do we find those businesses and make sure that those are the businesses we use?
From that point, I will make sure I'm talking to our digital marketer how are we making sure those get out there. So that's something that we can probably do better at. And I also think that it's not just people coming from our organization that has this. I think it's if you know individuals, when we're promoting people out there, we're not going to say this person has a criminal history, so go patronize their businesses, but making sure that if you do know, do it.
That's another way that the community can be involved. Those self-betterment clubs have been around. They run by the men. They're run by lifers and long sentence servers. They are advocates for their mentors. It's peer-to-peer, and they're doing a great job. However, just like the gentleman said, they didn't want to hear from the youth that were confined when they're setting up a policy for them. These individuals do their homework, they do their letter writing, but they're wearing the wrong uniform. So that's another way that the community can be involved, is with these self-betterment clubs. Go in, participate, attend the club, and then you be their voice to come bring it on the outside. You can bring, that's the meat, that's the real deal. And you can bring what these individuals are saying and experiencing out to the community and speak and get the word out on their behalf. That's how legislation changes. I was at several hearings down at Lincoln because Senator Lathrop and Senator McAllister have cracked some stuff that is very interesting and very necessary for us. And so what I was able to give their plan, I was able to tell them what the brothers said, and what the real deal is, what really is going on with the Board of Pardons, because I was at 2 of them. And so now they have even more information that came straight from Tecumseh, came straight from NSP, came straight from the men who have done their homework, but they need a community voice. And so that's another way that the community can be involved, is hear from them, run their stuff is on task, and then bring their voices on the outside. That connects us all the more.
Not to be disrespectful to anyone. Are you, I mean, because this is in general. Are you familiar with the position of the Department of Justice as it applied to the newly DMC program?
I think that's right.
Are you familiar with the Department of Justice action upon the entry of the newly DMC program, disproportionate minority contact?
From the county level?
National level.
No, I'm not.
The DMC program hires coordinators. This is all over the country. The main purpose of those coordinators were to gather the information to determine why these disproportionate numbers are being done. Immediately, the Department of Justice puts out a memo, whatever it is, stating that no longer will they provide that type of data. And then specifically says that because it may cause civil disorder. In other words, their actions could make people think there's something going on wrong. All right? If you can't control it from the foundation of it, you can work in the systems all you want to, but if the mechanism that controls it has removed itself, even from the point of saying they're no longer going to fund, they're no longer going to be involved in social programs. It's the Department of Justice. They're not going to be involved in social programs that aid this. Then how does the strategy, which is already recyclable, going to have any kind of effect over these situations that are historical? If we keep doing the same old thing, particularly when you have no mechanism of communicating it to the people or getting the people's communication back to you, because there's nothing that's in place to put that into place. So it causes for a lot of organizations that do the same types of work for the same types of reasons to suffer ongoingly. How does that, are you familiar with what I'm talking about? Okay, then that's the question. Why? Is that set up? Why?
I don't have an answer for it. If anyone had an answer for it, we would still be sitting here talking about doing the same things over and over. But it's a good question. How do we overcome that? Even looking at what we've done for civil rights, and we're still here in 2020, still fighting for the same things. There's no easy answer to give you what you want. But we just know we have to keep fighting for it because we know it's right. And if we don't keep fighting for it, then we fail the next generation who comes up. And I think that's also a key piece of it. We have to listen to that generation coming up. As everyone ages and keeps moving on, it's the same policies from those ages of people that have moved on. And I think it's looking at what does the future look like for those generations and what are their voices, because they're going to be the ones who have to deal with what we couldn't get past.
Now follow up, please. the DMC program itself has identified a disproportionate number of youth. Let's use Omaha, Nebraska for a prime example of that. From 2010 to 2020, a disproportionate number of young black, brown females are now getting adult charges. So for us to talk about we don't want to get the next generation in the same bag, they already are. And all this is documented, it's all put it out. And there's no mechanism within the structure itself to alter that. So for a community to recognize that things already are, to concentrate on, well, we got to take care of this, and it's already that way already. Doesn't that group need to come together collectively and reevaluate their direction and their purpose?
Yes.
Then why aren't they doing that?
You have to talk to them. But why are they not? Because it's just like how Willie said, everybody's working in silos. Everybody thinks they have the answer, and you have to come together to get the answer. It's not going to be one group with the answer that solves it all.
Wouldn't that answer be stop working, particularly like Omaha, Nebraska?
Stop working in silos?
Stop working in silos because you're only in a 10-mile square area anyway.
I think we've been keeping that drum for a while.
Oh, you're way back. I mean,
but where's that leadership in those organizations working in those silos?
That's the place you start.
So when I'm talking
that's
about
where you
the
start.
Next generation of leaders, we have to start getting people like Jasmine Harris in those positions, because now you have run the gamut of those leaders. Do not want other leaders to come who will work together, who will work in unity and solidarity.
The problem lies in that it's restating itself. We don't have that kind of time to wait to move. If a new understanding comes around and you recognize that it's a problem, then remove it. Stop it. It's coming.
Are you going to stop it by force? Because for me, it's if that person who's in leadership is not willing to accept it, then what do we do as people outside of force?
What's wrong with force?
I don't talk about force.
Pardon?
I have to remove myself from using any physical any physical means. But that's you and your idea.
Thank you, Elder. Thank you, Elder, for all of that information to really make us think. Elder got a way of taking us right to the crux of it. I know some people might be like, but it really is the grandiose answer is how do we galvanize it? So that's something that we really seriously need to be thinking about. In fact, I'm got it going in my head now. I'm thinking about putting pen to paper and write some things myself. I'm a returning citizen myself after 27 years, so I know quite a bit about the system and who comes in there, does what, etc. And one of the things I'm going to kind of tie in what Tila said, as well as one of the things you were talking about when you were talking about the organizations. I remember a while back in prison, these different self-betterment groups, they used to have either the board member or someone sent by the board member representative, and they used to sit down with some of the head officials all the way up to the directors, etc. So there was a time when they did allow them a place at the table to talk about what was best for those that were incarcerated. So I don't know if that's still going on or not, or maybe that's something that you and other groups that go in might want to rethink that, mention that to the self-betterment groups. And also Harambe at Tecumseh, Harambe is not even functioning at Tecumseh. And I tell you, as a Harambe member, former chairman, and pretty much any position of Harambe, I have helped those positions. I worked hand in hand with Brother Mundo, the great teacher and leader that he was. But I just think that maybe that's something that you might want to bring up somewhere along the line, you, Tila, and the rest of y'all to go into, because then at least you begin to get that back in there, as well as get them to open up, not get them, but maybe make some mention of them opening Harambe up, because I've been through a lot of programs, spiritual, Harambe, Toastmasters, JC's, Gavel Club, all of those things. And to me, there was two things that transformed me the most. It was my, not necessarily religion, but spiritual perspective, even though my spiritual perspective was housed under a Pacific religion, but culture. But once I got in Harambe and met Mundo, one of the most beautiful men I ever met in my life. This guy was a true African. I mean African as in black. Them were synonymous to me. He taught me that. That's where I got that from. I used to separate him like everybody else, African and black. Mundo taught us how to say African. Mundo Broom, Kwanzaa out here, and a whole bunch of other things. So Harambe and the cultural organizations, those are the things that really, especially black folks and other folks with their culture, helps the most. Because culture kind of cover the umbrella of a whole bunch of these associations. Because once a person knows who he or she is as a black person, as an African person, they begin to walk different, talk different, they respect themselves and respect others. I used to be a fighter. I looked around and said, one day, hey, all I'm doing is fighting like these gang members. All I'm doing is fighting and hurting other African people. Then I said, maybe I should stop hurting other African people. Then I took it on a broader level and said, maybe I should stop hurting people, period. See, so that came through a cultural channel. So I just wanted to mention all of that and, get the little spiel in there, etc. But thank you very much, Jasmine.
Thank you. About 8 years ago, Tommy Wilson used to be at Metro Community College. And she really started taking folks who had resources inside the prison to be able to build a connection, if you would, build trust. Because a lot of those individuals never had trust and always been let down by the community. This is something I do not for work. This is something I do for my community. 5 out of 6 of my brothers lived a total of 80 years. 13 boys in the immediate family, 9 got felonies. It just don't impact that individual. It impacts the whole family. And we up here, we always trying to be nice. I try to be nice too. But at the end of the day, if we don't start holding folks accountable, demanding change, system change, nothing is going to happen. She spoke about division. It is taking place in Omaha, Nebraska. Certain groups don't like me. I'm cool with that. Certain groups don't like Tim Powell neighborhood. Certain people don't like whoever. But our community is paying the price. Our kids are paying the price. Our women are paying the price. So much so that an organization I won't name actually went to Oakland, California to bring somebody back to say, hey, look, man, y'all need to get all these folks together. Because money is not the issue. It's personalities. It's I don't like Willie Hamilton because Willie Hamilton say whatever. So we got a huge problem with egos, organizations, cliques, and the whole 9 yards. We got to find a way to bring everybody to the table. You ain't got to like me for me to work with you. Yeah. But we got an opportunity right now around criminal justice reform, juvenile justice, to do something really special. You got RISE working on the inside, and you got a lot of organizations who are banding together on the outside. We're working with 28 organizations, all affiliated with Reentry. From ACLU to Appleseed, to Friends and Families of Inmates, to Maze, do some phenomenal work. So many different organizations are willing to sit down. We're working with DMC, with all Jamal Binder, and trying to hold them up and hold them accountable for the almost $1.8 million that he has, that a lot of these organizations in the community could use, but for whatever reason, those organizations are not getting funded. Most of the organizations are getting funded, organizations on the outskirts of 72nd. Something has to change. And we got to stop worried about what philanthropy thinks, and more important about what is best for our community. At the end of the day. And so I am very pleased that Rise came and did this presentation. And more importantly, just don't let her do the presentation. Get a letter out, get an email. Or go visit somebody down at the pen. Or go feed a family. But do something.
So with that, we just close this out. So, thank you all. Thank you, Home Club, and I'll be here. If you need contact information, and we'll get
Next week, Ms. LaVon Stennis of Reconnect will be here. LaVon Stennis is a beast. She don't bite her tongue about nothing. So if you come, wear your seatbelt. And then we're going to call it a day. So I know we have Ms. Sheila Nichols. We have Mr. Terrell McKinney. Where is Ann Ashford? We got Ann Ashford, and then we got Ms. Gladys Harrison. So definitely take an opportunity to say a few words and learn more about these candidates and why they're running for office.
Thank you very much. I am running for District 11. We're together. I love Terrell. District 11 is highly represented inside prison, but we're not very well represented as far as voting and making changes. And I think that's because our people just don't know how special and how valuable they are. And so my campaign is going to be focused on validation. Just like we're in prison, I've been in there for 36 years. Just like we tell these individuals how valuable they are, there's something else to them. There's no line so fine it doesn't have two sides. There's a reason why things aren't changing, and it's because our community does not realize the value that we have. We have a very rich African history. We have people that did horrendous things under horrendous situations. I mean, they could have lost their lives for the moves that they made. So we already got everything we need inside. We just don't know it. And so it's important to me to validate our community, flip that script, and get our people out and keep them out.
Come on, and then Terrell.
I get to go before Terrell. My name's Ann Ashford. I'm running for Congress here in Nebraska's 2nd District. I'm not going to keep you, but I'm just going to tell you I think the #1 quality you need to look for anybody who's running for office or anybody who's in office, are they willing to listen to you, to truly hear you? If they aren't, forget them. I'm here to listen to you, to truly hear you, and I want to take all of you to Washington. Thank you.
Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Terrell McKinney. I'm running for state legislature in District 11. I'm running because this is my community and I want to utilize all my experience to make changes that we need. I'm currently in law school at Creighton. I'm going to take a lot of that education into the legislature to make these changes. I'm going to focus on fixing the economic systems in this district and in this city for our people. Look at the criminal justice system and make those changes that Jasmine was talking about. Look at the education system and raise the standards for our kids to ensure they get the best education possible. And look at healthcare and make sure our people are surviving and have adequate access to healthcare. I got a campaign fundraiser this weekend. It's an open mic night at Culture House. It's right off of 24th. It's 3014 North 24th Street. You can find me on Facebook, Terrell McKinney LD11. Have an event page and visit my website, peopleforterrellmckinney.com. Thank you.
Yes. I thought we might have had another one, a surprise. Jasmine.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Big Mamas. Thank you for coming today.
Please keep Big Mama's in your mind when you need to host an event, or you need to have lunch, or you need to have food catered. We would love to do that for you. If you don't already know, my name is Gladys Harrison. Big Mama was my mom. My sisters and I run the restaurant now, Big Mama's Grandkids. I am also running for Congress for Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. Like we all have a seat here at the table today, that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that everybody in the 2nd District has a voice and has a seat at the table in Washington. GladysForCongress.com is my website. I need volunteers. Of course, I need your donations, but please visit my website, GladysForCongress.com. Y'all have a great afternoon, and thank you again.
Last but not least, Black Wing United has opened up officially a food co-op. We know that in North Omaha, we know that, can't say co-op anymore. We have a food pantry. So we have a food pantry the 2nd and 4th Saturday of the month from 10 to 12:30. What? 12. And we know that there's a need, big time in North Omaha, for good food, healthy food. So we had 100 people, 100 families that we fed a week before last. We had probably about 40 families we fed last 2 weeks. So we're looking to get rid of some food this Saturday from 10 to 12. So if you know someone that's in need, please tell them. And we don't ask for no identification and all those type of things, because if you're proud enough to come in, we're proud enough to serve you. Thank you.